After many years of successful Disney games from the likes of Sega, Capcom, and Virgin Games, Disney decided to develop Gargoyles in-house and released it on the aging Sega Genesis in 1995. The game is loosely based on the cult hit Gargoyles cartoon, which ran from 1994 through 97. Being a big fan of most 16-bit Disney games, I was happy to track this one down and finally put it through its paces. The presentation here is pretty good, with a few brief cutscenes outlining a story and setting us on our way. The overall tone is set with the first level, and everything is very dark and moody. It's a nice contrast to the bright and colorful worlds often associated with Disney properties. Gargoyles features above-average graphics, with a decent amount of detail in the sprites and a semi-realistic art style that fits this mature world quite nicely. Our protagonist, Goliath, is large and animated rather well, and towers over the human adversaries. The music is sadly just okay. The compositions are fairly basic, and there are just one or two instruments ever playing at the same time. The sound effects fare a bit better, with nice solid thunks, good sounding fire, and convincing yelps when you kill a Viking. As a whole, it's a bit of a letdown for a title released in 1995. Gargoyles has decent level design. In addition to simply moving left to right, the layouts demand we climb up walls and even fly to progress. Still, the levels are linear, and it's always clear where to go next and how to proceed. There are often walls and floors to break through, and it's somewhat satisfying to destroy the environments. The second stage requires you to pull chains that shut down these fire vents so you can get through the level. In New York City, we must break down air ventilation systems to propel ourselves upwards and swing off lights. The variety in Gargoyles is excellent. The main attacks are a slash and a throwing maneuver. Neither work all that well, and often it feels like it's taking forever to actually take down enemies. Still, when you do manage to connect with the grabbing maneuver, it's pretty awesome. Gargoyles has a lot going for it, but it's completely let down by the awful controls. While playing the game, I constantly felt like I was fighting just to perform basic tasks. The game wouldn't jump when I wanted to jump, so then when the jump worked, it would then trigger the second jump, which is brief flight. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out exactly what was going on. My theory is most actions won't actually trigger until your current animation is finished. So, while landing, you can't slash, or while slashing, you can't jump, and so on. Even when I was very careful and deliberate with my actions, it was still unpredictable. Like the controls, the bosses in Gargoyles are also disappointing. The first boss is needlessly difficult because you have to constantly jump and slash, and it doesn't work very well. If you don't get it perfect, you get struck by lightning, which then cancels your jump. The second boss is a joke, as every time you hit him, his attack gets cancelled. You can literally just sit there and slash away, and there's nothing he can do to stop you. The third boss is where my patience for Gargoyles pretty much runs out. You have to attack his appendages while they poke out of the elevator, which is simple enough, but then you have to cling to the sides of the elevator and attack. While all of this is happening, the boss will shoot electricity at you. Because the jumping is broken, the entire experience is frustrating. And that about sums up Gargoyles. The game has promise, with solid graphics and some interesting gameplay mechanics. But fighting the awkward controls through the entire adventure just isn't any fun. Magazines in the 90s loved this game, but I can't for the life of me figure out why. There are much better games to spend your retro gaming hours on. 2 out of 5.